Nkani Toastmaster. Today I'm going to present you the raid of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Boko Haram is a terrorist organization, and the meaning is the Western education is forbidden or is sin. During this presentation, I'm going to develop 3 points: the impact of poverty on terrorism, the government brutality, and the impact of strong leaders. First, Nigeria is part of West Africa, which is 15 independent countries. The region knew many insurrections, from rebellion in Mali and Niger, civil war in Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Ivory Coast, and mainly in Nigeria also, in Delta Niger, and even northern part, which Boko Haram is evaluating. It is a national security threat for the country. This map shows this is the map of Nigeria, and the northern part is the one who are suffering mainly. The red and the northern and the north central part of the country. They are very, very poor. They are mainly Muslim, and the suffering part are Christian. When the British reached Nigeria, they keep everybody with his religion. They did not make any change to take a new one, to be Christian or Muslim. The poverty is handling mainly the northern part, as is shown in the screen. Almost 80% of the population in the northern part are poor, the northwest part. And at least the average is 70%. Compared to the suffering people who are Christian, the poverty highest point is 27. This imbalance pushes Muslim leaders and clerics to push these people to fight against the central government high corruption. These are kids who are living under the power of these Muslim leaders. There are at least 9 million of kids who are beggars in the northern part of Nigeria. The best clerics use them to beg during the day, looking for food, and bring to them around 50 cents US dollar per day to improve themselves. Then they use these kids to fight against the government. But the highest point of the insurrection was when the group leader, Yusuf, was arrested by the Nigerian government and killed in police custody. They killed the leader and many other members of the group. When he was killed, the group went in the hideout in the neighboring countries like Mali, Algeria, who was fighting civil war, and even Somalia. When they went there, they developed many new skills and become more stronger against the government of Nigeria. The brutality was the impact heavily the population position about the government security forces. They were no longer willing to cooperate with them. The brutality result more than 800 deaths, 3,500 civilians were internally displaced, and more than 1,000 children became orphaned for the government brutality, and more than 300 also women became widows. This fact hinder the group position and harden the position against the national government. This is the group leader. The first leader was Mohammed Yusuf. He was a very powerful oratory. He was able, at the group inception before his death, to have more than 280,000 followers in Nigeria and northern Cameroon and Niger. This impact heavily the group strength, and it was also exploited by the country politician, federal level, and even the local politician to win elections. When he was assassinated, his deputy in command, Mohamed Shakau, took over, and he sent some of his lieutenants to neighboring countries who was fighting against insurgents to learn new skill in improvised device equipment and learn better fighting tactics against the government of Nigeria. And when they came back, they became, in 2014, the deadliest organization in the world. They killed more than 6,000 in 9 months. They killed more than ISIS in Syria and Iraq. The international organization decided to fight them, but the conflict is still ongoing. To sum up, the government brutality can harden the group position and learn new tactics. The poverty also is a very important element in any conflict. If people feel they are deprived from their basic rights in the country, they will fight for their opportunities. Moreover, the impact of influential leaders is very, very important in any group. Yusuf was a young man in his early 30s. He was able to have more than 200,000 followers in the country, and people were dwelling with their daily needs. Thank you so much.
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, and especially Brahima. This was Brahima's second speech in the leadership development path in Pathways, and it's wonderful that you're making progress. There are 4 general types of speeches. They are speaking to entertain, they're speaking to persuade, as Carl was doing, they're speaking to inspire, and finally speaking to inform. And this was a speech about informing. The best structure, the ideal structure for an informative speech is the boilerplate of tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. And the reason for that is that hearing the replication of the points is important. And then also there's the rule of 3, where 3 is the ideal number of points. And Brahima, you did an outstanding job of all of those. In a speaking to inform speech, you began by telling us the 3 points that you were going to be making. You then went through the 3 points, and then you concluded by a very effective evaluation supported by the slides. You gave us background on something that I've only heard in the media about this Boko Haram and the terrible things that it was doing. And what you helped me understand, and I hope the rest of the Toastmasters, is some of the background of that. Why did this happen? And you showed us how extreme poverty, economic inequality, together with government brutality, can leave a population vulnerable to charismatic leaders, such as the ones that you demonstrated. I thought your slides were very effective. You didn't have this death by PowerPoint where you have an eye chart with lots of little words on it. You had pictures and just very few words in large font. I have a few suggestions. The first is I would encourage you in your next speech to slow down your pace. It was sometimes a little bit difficult to hear and understand what the words were. Just slow down and it would have been much better. In your one slide about the brutality, that I happen to know from working with you, that was what the government did, not what Boko Haram did. So I think that should have been made a little more clear, because it looked like that's what Boko Haram did. No, that's what the government did, and Boko Haram, as you pointed out, was in a way a response to that. The final thing, you did something that was both a plus and a minus. One was you had the slides timed. The plus on that is that it kept the speech on track and kept you from going over. The downside was that there were times when you got out of sync, or it forced you to move on from a point before you had really made it. So that was something to utilize, and maybe with a little more practice to finally do that. Your conclusion side was outstanding, and you have this uncanny ability to show us things and help us understand things that we otherwise would not. So thank you very much.